Now we've seen that we can create our own Gantt chart view that we can then update and copy to the global template so we can use it in all future project files. Well as being able to create a Gantt chart view, and usually as well as creating a Gantt chart view, you'd want to create a custom table. Now we know we can change the tables that we use by simply going to View, Tables, and choosing one of the other tables. Sometimes, perhaps, those tables don't quite meet your needs and you would hide columns or insert further columns. Well, rather than changing the default layout for any of these tables, it's probably safer to create your own table. Now we can do that from the Tables drop-down where it says More Tables. And here we have the option for New or Copy. So if I copy an existing table, I can then manipulate it. If I create a new table from scratch, then I really need to know what I want in that table. So let's look at both options. Let's take the entry table and copy that. And we're going to call it, instead of copy of entry, we'll call it Guy T1 for table 1. Now we can see here, these are the columns that are currently in there. We have the ID, the indicators, task mode, name, duration, start and finish. So if I'm not interested in any of these columns, I can remove them. So task mode, let's delete it. The indicators, I will keep that, the name, the duration, start and finish, I don't really want those, delete, delete, predecessors, no, resources, no. If I then want other columns, I can click the drop down and choose what other column I would like. So let's have the baseline cost and then the actual cost. Now, as well as being able to control which field you want, you can then control whether the data goes left, center, or right. Let's put these two at the right because they're numerical. The width, you can see there, you can control that with the little up and down arrows or physically type in. You can change the title. Now, at the moment, your heading for each column is actually the field name. If the field name isn't quite what you're after, so for example, there where it says name, the title becomes task name, you can add your own task name. If the task name remains blank, it uses the field name. Instead of baseline cost, we'll call that cost start, and then actual cost can be cost now. Align the title in the center, fine. These are all left aligned titles. Header wrapping, text wrapping. So that's within the cell. Well, numbers can't really wrap, so they're no anyway. We have an option to control date format, so what a date would look like in any of your fields, if any of them are date fields. The row height defaults to 1, but you could increase that. Lock the first column in place. Auto adjust header row heights, so the header rows, if the name, for example, of the title's quite long and needs to wrap, it will adjust it itself and show add new column interface so people can add their own columns. Little tick here, show in menu, will mean that it's in the drop down menu of tables here. If not, you have to go into this section to see it. So let's not show this one in the menu for the moment. Okay, Guy T1 appears here, but doesn't appear here. So to use this table, I have to go to More Tables, Guy T1 and apply, and then that's now the column that I get. So I see the information, indicators, the name, the duration, the cost start, and the cost now. Now, if I want to use this table as the default table for my view, then I would need to amend the view. So we go to Other Views, More Views, Guy's Gantt Chart, Edit, and change the table here to Guy T1. So because I've already made it T1, it's already placed it within there. That's okay, and then apply. So I can create as many tables as I want, tables, more tables. I could copy them as we did previously, or I could create a new one from scratch. If I create a new one from scratch, I get no fields here or any information across here to help me out. I've got to know what I want. Firstly, a name, Guy T2. What would I like in Guy T2's table? I'd like to know, well, I need the name of the task really. Name. Line left, width 10. Well, let's make that a wider column. Let's go to 20. And title task. Centerline the title. Now let's make it left align. Header wrapping, text wrapping, no. I'd also like to know the duration of that task. Type a D so it jumps down to the D's at least. Duration. Left align, width 10, center, that's okay. And then we want baseline duration. Baseline duration, again left 10, center, that's okay. Lock the first column. Okay, so this is a much smaller table, Guy T2. Let's show this one in the menu. Okay, appears in this list, fine. And because I've showed it in the menu, it appears in this list as well. So Guy T2 can be chosen at any stage. Now, initially, things look a little bit strange because my tasks, you can see there, they're all in the grey bit, where you normally see the ID. That's because I've asked it to fix the first column. Well, the first column is actually the task name rather than the ID. So really, we should put the ID column there. So let's go back to tables, more tables, T2 edit, and add in the ID. That's the ID, but I need it to be the first column. So we need to cut this row and then insert a row there and then paste the row. And then delete that blank one that's appeared. Okay, then we can apply, and you see the IDs now become the first fixed column. Shrink those up a bit and widen the task name. So these are a lot narrower information. So we can create views. We've seen that already in action. We can edit those views. We can create our own tables. And then if we make those tables the default table for your new view, you have a whole new experience that can be used, or because you've not altered the actual defaults, you can always go back to the default views at any stage by using the Gantt chart, the tracking Gantt, the detail Gantt, etc. So by making your own view and your own tables, you keep the originals in place at any point that you might need to go back to those. Perhaps someone using your machine who's not familiar with your customized views and your customized tables. So you can control that. You make them how you want them. You can keep them in this file, or you can use the organizer to copy them to the template. We've already seen that in action. Into the organizer, copy anything that you want into the global template, and then it will be available to all future project files that you create.